Hello, good afternoon. This is GSP 1201/2201 use of English for the student of Group G, that is student comprising of students from the Department of Anatomy, Physiology, and Pharmacy. We said starting with tenses. Generally, what do you mean by tense? When we talk of tense, we mean a term that is used in grammar to denote the time of an action or state of being. That is, at the time when we use a verb to express action, we also use this verb. Within this verb, we use what we call aspect of this verb to express the time in which the action happened. Sometimes an explicit word is used alongside the verb. For example, the auxiliary verb which expresses time of action, or the verb will be inflected to still reflect this time of an action. So, if you like, in English grammar, time property, that is tense, is part of English verb, or it is expressed using what within the verbal phrase of the English language. In other words, when we talk of tenses, we talk of the time that already passed, that is the time that of action that has already happened, and the time of the present action, and what will come in the future. So basically speaking, these are the three major types of tenses. As we are aware, this is beyond English language. Universally speaking, there are three types of tenses, namely the present, the past, and the future. The present indicates the current action. Past indicates what has happened, and the future expresses what is to come at the next time. Okay. By way of starting with present tense. We said present tense generally deals with action that are ever existing or being considered now. That is, when it says of being, the action, it happens that since verb express action, we said this verb express a action that is taking place now, or the one that is a state of being that is as it is at the time of speaking. Okay, we said generally speaking, tenses present tense is also divided into what? 4 subtypes. What are these 4 subtypes? We said that's what we call present simple tense. We said this present simple tense can be used in various situations. It's formed by using the base form, that is the form of verb that is not inflected in any way, and the subject, that is the subject, the first form, and the what you call the other object or complement, depending on the kind of sentence we are making. Okay, we said what are the uses of these present tenses? Simple present tense. We said present simple tense is used to express what? A present action. That is, for example, if I say Adamu likes rice, you enjoy the lecture, Musa attend the class. That is, what is happening now is expressed using simple present tense. Please, let's notice that always in English grammar, a third person singular, that is third person singular, takes s. That is, the verb in third person singular take s to express simple present action. Okay. Again, the second use of present simple tense is to express what we call a repeated or habitual action. By repeated action, we mean the action that is occurring at a particular interval, that is more than once at particular interval, or the action that is habitual, that happens in a frequency of time, the frequency of a time. For example, you go to mosque every Friday. I take tea every morning. Then another function is to express a general action that is true, was true, and likely to be true in the future, such as scientific principle or something that is considered to be universal truth. We said the sun set in the west. Mosquitoes transmit malaria. The earth is spherical. Then another function of present, another subtype of present tense is present continuous tense. We said this is used to express an action in progress at the time of speaking. That is, action that is currently taking place. It is formed by using am or is or are plus the ing form of the verb, that is present participle form of the verb. For example, I am teaching now, you are listening, she is jumping. It is this kind of tenses, that is present continuous tenses, that we use to make what? Polar question, that is a kind of what in a way of rearranging the structure, that is by prompting the auxiliary verb. Am I lecturing now? Are you listening? Is she jumping? All these are what we call polar question, which can be answered with yes or no. Okay. Number 3 is present perfect tense. What is a present perfect tense? We say it's a type of tense, a sort of present tense that is used to describe action that is completed in the past, whose effect continues to the present. That is, an action that already started happening or that has just happened, we use present tense to express it, present perfect tense to express it. For example, they have arrived, they have just arrived. That is, it is used to express an action just completed. For example, they have arrived, he has finished the work, they have been eating the food. They have eaten the food, sorry. Or it is used to express an action that is completed in the past, whose effect continues up to the present time. For example, I have known Shehu for 10 years. The students have sat down. The type of, remember we said, these are also types of what? Present tenses. We have said that initially, the present tense is used to express the present action, broadly speaking. When we say within it, there are 4 other subtypes. We call them present simple, then present continuous, then present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Okay, as we move to the next part, we are going to look at what? Past tenses. That is, or if you like, past tense. What is a past tense? We said this is an action that is already completed in the past. That is an action that has already taken place, or a state of being that is no longer what is expressed. For example, we normally use past tense when narrating a story. Past tense, like present tense, is also divided into 4 subtypes. What do you have? We have the past simple. What is a past simple tense? We said this is a type of tense in which we use what? A finite verb, that is simple past form of the verb and the subject and then the object or the complement. For example, we said it is always the commonest of all tenses. The simple tense, the past simple tense, is normally used to describe event or habitual activities as states in the past. You said normally in this verb we use only verb that is a past finite verb. What's a past finite verb? You mean a verb that can stand alone and be a verb of the sentence without what? And without having an auxiliary making assisting the lexical verb. Example of this, we said some of it is used include number 1, an action completed at the point in time in the past. I said I found my mother last 2 months. Nigeria gained independence in 1960. She sat for SSCE last year. As you can see that these are actions that are already taken place, which we use the past simple to express them. You can see that the verbs are put in bold, that is they're bolded. Number 2, we said habitual activities in the past. That is, we still use a past or finite past form of the verb, that is finite past form of the verb to express habitual activity in the past. For example, it rained every day in August. That is, this is what is obtained previously. It may not rain this year or next year, for example, but it rained every day in August, maybe. In the last August, for example, it used to rain every day. They went to church every Sunday. Maybe the situation is no longer obtainable, or maybe they have left a place, maybe for another place. We can say they went to church every Sunday. We said the boys ran to school daily. That is, we mean maybe when there was maybe at a particular point of time in the past, the children normally used to go to school and used to run to school every day. Then we said a state in the past. Remember we said verb is not just used to express what? Past, to express action. Sometimes there are verbs that are not what? That are not action oriented. For example, in this type of verb, we have what we call expression of state. That is how something is, or how something was, or how something has been, either in the past, in the present, or in the future. For example, you say the soup was stateless. The soup was stateless. Musa became rich later. That is, he wasn't rich before. The soup was not, maybe in the first was tasteless. And for example, Musa became rich later. That is, he was not rich before the time of the sermon, and he later became rich. And this may be holding or not holding at the time of speaking. The first continuous. This tense is used to express an action in progress or incomplete in the past. It is formed by using the was and were plus the ing participle form of verb. For example, I was eating when my sister called me. You were shouting at the top of your voice when I entered the class. I was praying in the mosque. That is, this is to report something that was in progress at a particular point in the past. But what is not obtainable. That is to express a continuation of an action in the past. Or we use past continuous tense to express this kind of thing. This kind of, as I've said, like present tense, past tense has four subtypes, namely the past simple, the past continuous, the past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Then the future tense. When always we talk of the future, we mean we put emphasis, or we describe the situation that is due to take place in the time to come. That is something that is yet to happen. For example, we said, how do you express a past tense? We said we use what we call the modal auxiliary will or shall. However, there are other ways that we can use to express what? There are other ways that we can use to express past action. As I take you into the discussion, I'll go into the discussion. We are going to treat this also. Okay. Simple picture. We say simple picture. This is an action that will take place in picture. It is formed by using will, shall plus the base form of the verb. Whenever any of modal auxiliary is used, what comes about as a rhetorical verb should be in finite in base form. That is in a form that is not what altered by inflection whatsoever. For example, the Super Eagle will play tomorrow. Look at the word play. Play. That is will. Because of the will, the play should not be inflected. That is, anything should not be added to either this. Anything should not be added to this play. That is either being as or being ed. That is what we call non-inflected form of verb. That is the best form. Okay, I shall go to Lagos next week. She will like it. Then we have picture continuous. That is, this shows an action that will be in progress in the picture. Something will be started in the picture and it will be in progress to a particular point of time or at a particular point of time. We say it is formed by using will, then the be form of the verb, and the ing form of the verb. That is, what we mean by be form of the verb is this: is, are, am, was, were. But in this case of picture, we use what? The V in it is bare form. That is in base form. That we don't alter it, because remember we have said whenever you have a modal auxiliary, what comes immediately after it is what? The base form of the verb. That's why we should have shall be or will be as in the structure of picture continuous. We said number one, we shall be finishing this lecture by next month. You will be coming next week. I will be driving to home. Like all the other tenses, in picture tense we have the four subtypes, namely picture simple, picture perfect, and what? Future perfect, future simple, future perfect continuous, sorry, future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Okay, and this is all about future tense. As we are aware, in this we discuss the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. Now we are going to explain as another aspect of this this lecture, that is the punctuation, that is the last, which is the last aspect of the four aspects we promised to discuss in this module. Okay, we said punctuation provides division between sentence and part of sentence. In other words, punctuation are kind of what? Signals that guide this reader, or yes, and the listener of a language at that is a kind of signpost that signal stop, speed, and what have you. So we said always punctuation are a kind of signpost of language. That is how it guides how we say and how we read. It makes reading easy because you know where to stop a little and where to stop a little longer. Punctuation makes understanding of a passage or writing easier. There are three types of punctuation used at the end of each sentence. That is, we have what are called terminal punctuations. These are full stop, question mark, and exclamation marks. Number one, what are full stop? Or what is full stop? A full stop, what is sometimes called period, is used in the following ways. It is used to mark the end of declarative sentence. A declarative sentence is a sentence that contains only a statement. For example, all Bayero University students are to bring their dictionaries to the class tomorrow. It is raining. I am a teacher, and what have you. All these are examples of statement or declarative sentence. So we use full stop at the end of such sentences. Another use of punctuation mark is at the end of what? Imperative sentence. If the imperative is strong to require an exclamation mark, we sometimes use an exclamation mark. But sometimes we use full stop at the end of what? Non-exclamatory sentence. For example, like I say, open the windows, go and call me a doctor, and full stop. Eat as much as you like. That we use full stop. But where we use an exclamatory mark, we use an when we have an exclamatory sentence, we use exclamation mark. Then we say full stop is also used for what? Abbreviation. For example, Alhaji B.M. Muhammad. Wherever you abbreviate, even in month, we indicate full stop. That is Mr. T.M. Awaisu Aliyu Kamal PhD and what? NITEL BUK MTN. However, we should remember sometimes due to conventionalization of such abbreviation, they are what? Used as either a word, that is giving them this kind of what? Changing them into acronyms, or pronouns without what? Using abbreviation, without using full stop at the end of each one. For example, MTN is now conventionalized, BUK, even NITEL, which is an acronym, and what have you, WHO, and what have you, without using what? A full stop there. Okay. The question mark. After full stop, I have said there's a question mark. What's a question mark? We said this is another signpost that indicate whether what we have said, whether the sentence is a question or a non-question or not. We use the example, the mark to indicate if we are asking a question. However, a rhetorical question is a question which does not require an answer. So in whatever case, we use what? A question mark. For example, when do you work to finish the work? How can I get to the first office? Do you know his name? Then example of rhetorical. These are some example of direct question. But example of rhetorical questions include like, can a man ever learn from his past mistake? How will you know that you will be angry? Then the exclamation marks. What's an exclamation mark? We said at the name implies exclamation marks are used at the end of exclamatory sentences. For example, come here if you dare. How wonderful. Oh, amazing. What a nice idea. These are sentences that normally express excitement, surprise, anger, frustration, and what have you. So they are said to be exclamatory sentences, are normally used with an exclamatory marks or exclamation marks. Then there are non-terminal punctuation marks. For example, the comma. Starting with the comma, what is a comma? We said a comma is used between words in a list. That is, they are used to separate words. For example, she has milk, he has milk, sugar, biscuit, soap, and bottled water in his house. Remember, that's what is called an off-spot comma in writing. That is, before we use an, what we have written. For example, in the sentence that I've mentioned, he has milk, sugar, biscuit, soap. There is option for one to either write, to either what indicate a comma after soap and then and bottled water, or we write it without this comma. In most academic writing, this comma is normally omitted. However, it is called off-spot comma. So when it is used, there is no harm. Okay. Then it is also used to indicate what separation. For example, she came across a short, fat, ill-tempered fellow. We said comma are also used to separate clauses in compound sentence. For example, the chairman arrived at the conference on time, and everybody stood off. The sun was not shining, but still it was hot. He could not accept the invitation, for he had been ill. Because then the next, another non-terminal punctuation mark is the colon. We said colon is used in a sentence to introduce a list. For example, the subject I like are English, geography, economics, government, and biology. We can see after the R, two dots placed up and down were immediately followed. This is what we call colon. It is normally used to introduce a list. Another function is that it can be used for an extension of an expressed idea or information. For example, how it is used in these two. We said another use is what? Colon is used for formal introduction or quotation. As being used to introduce the list, we have mentioned I like English. The subject I like are English, geography, economics, government, and biology. Also, we said where it is used to express an extension of an idea of information. We have example that we submitted our term papers to the teacher at different times as follows: Adamu Ali in the morning, Halima at noon, and Muhammad in the evening. We said again, colon can be used to introduce, or it's used for formal introduction of quotation. When we are to use quotation, we can use what? We can use colon to indicate what? A kind of what? Expression which is not our original idea, which is not what the use of what? The mentioning of the first speaker. For example, commenting on Bilkisu's brilliant performance, the teacher said, "You are pride to my class." You are pride to my class mean what? Part of the using colon indicates quoting the teacher. That is, the comment is not from the writer. Okay, the semicolon. We said this is used to separate clause in a compound sentence when there is no coordinating conjunction. Okay, we said the farmer planted millet. He did not plant rice. I told him to wait. I did not tell him to eat. To use it. The semicolon can also be used to separate clauses in compound sentence which has both as a coordinating conjunction. For example, the trader has different kind of goods, but they are expensive. Some students do not work hard, but they want to pass their exam. Then the next non-terminal mark is what? An apostrophe. We said in writing we sometimes use contraction. That is, we omit a letter or some letters in a word. In most cases, when we contract a word, we combine it with another word so that we have a single expression. To indicate the place where the letters are missing, we use apostrophe. For example, I don't know. Instead of I do not know, we say I don't know. The not, not, is contracted and matched to the do part of the sentence. So, and the O that is removed is contracted. That is N apostrophe and then T. Adam will not come. That is, Adam will not come. So you say, Adam won't come. The meeting will be held at 4 o'clock. That is 4 o'clock. You say 4 o'clock. I'm sorry to hear that. That is, I am sorry to hear that. So the A is removed and it also is contracted to I am. Two separate words are contracted and make what? I am. Are not you coming with me? Aren't you coming with me? That is, are not you coming with me? The not is contracted and matched to the operator are. Yes. Again, we use apostrophe with s after a noun or pronoun to form the possessive. That is to indicate what? Possession. If the noun is singular, we place apostrophe before the s. If the noun is plural and it ends with s, the apostrophe comes after the noun. For example, Muhammad's book is missing. The boy's cap is blue. The girl's shoes were well polished. The girl's shoes were well polished. The men's bags were put on a floor. The dog's tails were wagging. The women's toilet is on the school premises. In the school premises, please. Okay. Muhammad books is missing. Muhammad, the apostrophe, and then as the boys, apostrophe, and then as the girls, being plural, there's no need for another s again, so we put only the apostrophe. The men's, that is the men, and then the s apostrophe and the s. The dogs being plural, like in the case of girls, is also used without what? Without an s. Okay, the capital. We said, why do we use capital? We said we use a capital letter for the first letter of all proper nouns. For example, all names of the person are used with a capital letter at the beginning. We said Sani, Abdul, the S is capital, the S is capital, Ibrahim, Ladi, David, John, Aisha. The name of place. For example, name of cities, Benue, and what have you are used with capital letter. For example, Calabar, Ibadan, Kano, Babra, Abuja, Kaduna, and what have you. Name of countries. Still another name of place. We said Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and what have you. And then important or prominent places like Mountain Kilimanjaro, Mountain Kenya, Mountain Everest, and what have you. We said we use capital letter at the beginning of these words. The name of rivers like River Niger, River Benue, River Nile. We said also name of ocean, name of continents like Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, name of month January, March, December, April, name of days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, what have you. Other use of capital letters include we use capital letter for the first letter of every the first word of every sentence. We capitalize all the first letters of every line of poetry. We capitalize the pronoun I. We capitalize the first letter of the first word of the opening and closing letter. For example, Dear Abdul, yours sincerely. This takes us to all our discussion on the item in Module 2, Lecture 1 and 2. Remember we said this module promised to address 4 important aspects of grammar: the word class, the sentence type, the tenses, and punctuation. And as we remember in our first discussion, that is in our Module 1, Lecture 1, we look at word class and remember in Module 1 we look at word class and sentence type. In this lecture we look at tenses and punctuation. By way of review, we said tenses indicates time, and we said there are 3 basic the three basic types of tenses, namely the past, the present, and the future. Each one of these types has four subtypes, which we discuss, and then we talk of punctuation of being two major categories. That is what we call the terminal and the non-terminal. We say the terminal are just three. That is the stop, the question mark, and the exclamatory mark, which we use at the end of the sentence. Other type of punctuation include, for example, colon, semicolon, comma, and what we said are used within the sentence structure, or within a sentence, or in between two clauses, for example. Thank you for listening. We have other modules to discuss, as I anticipate your question, comment, observation, and even correction. I thank you for listening on again. See you in module 3. Bye.